Welcome back to the Arbitress YouTube channel. Today's class will be learning how to make this beautiful wrap top. It's a very simple crop top and it's beginner friendly. If this is something you want to learn, kindly stay tuned till the end of this tutorial. Thank you. So making this crop top is very simple. I'll be cutting the back panel first before I use the back to cut the front. So it's an overlap top. The total length that I want for this blouse is 20 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and measure out 20 inches for my fabric from the hem. Okay, so this is my 20 inches and then I'm going to roll it as my starting point. So on my starting point there's not going to be any zipper here, so I don't need to include any zipper allowance. So my starting point, I'll measure my shoulder, which is 8 inches, that's 16 inches divided by 2, and then for the neckline I'm measuring 3 inches by 1 inch for the back. Remember I said I'm cutting the back front, so I'm going to connect that, and then on my shoulder slope I measure 1 inch and connect that for my shoulder slope. So for my armhole, the armhole I'm working with is 9 inches from the starting point. So I measure the 9 inches here and then connect it. And on that mark, I'm going to take my shoulder measurement again so that I can have a straight line. So there I have my straight line, and then I'm going to get the midpoints of my armhole. Okay, I'm doing this for the back also because I want the armhole to be a bit inward. So here I'll get the midpoints of the, I'll go half inch on the midpoint, and then I'm going to connect to form my armhole line. So to do this I need my bust measurement, and the bust I'm working with is 44 inch. So 44 divided by 4 is going to give me 11. So I'll mark 11 inches and then I'll just use 1 inch for my allowance. Okay, I'm not going to add too much allowance to that. So there I'm going to connect for my armhole curve. Then the next measurement you need is your waist measurement, or where this blouse is going to stop. So for me I'm going to be using 36 inches. So 36 divided by 4 is going to give me 9 inches. So I have 9 inches. I'm just going to add half an inch for ease, and then I'll add my 1 inch seam allowance, and then I'll connect it as seam. So that is all I need for this, and then I'm cutting this out. So I'm going to be using this to cut out my front, and it's not going to be adding, I'm not going to be adding any lining to this. So you may fix lining to yours if you want. I'm just going to weave it with my serger. So this is my back. Now I'm going to fold my fabric again to get my front. Okay, so for my front I folded my fabric. So you need lots of fabric for this because remember I said there's going to be an overlap. So now I measured 9 inches, that's quarter of my waist, and then on that 9 inches point I'm going to place my front. So I just turned it to the right side so that it will be different from what I have, so that my front and my back is going to be obvious. Okay, that's why I'm placing it on the right side. So now this is where my 9 inches stop, that's quarter of my waist, but this depends on how much you want this to wrap around your body. You can just from 4-5 inches is fine if you don't want it too much, but I just want it a little bit around my body. That's why I'm using quarter of my waist measurement as a guide. So then now I'm going to place my back panel, as you can see. So after placing it like this, the first thing I'm going to do now is to shape out my side using my back panel as a guide. So I'm just going to cut this out so that I can have smaller workspace. So I'm just cutting out exactly what I have on my back panel on this side. Remember the space, the allowance that we have is going to be on the center front. So this is my side, and then I'm shaping out my armhole, then my shoulder slope, and then I'm just going to leave it as the measurement that I have for my back neckline. So now I've cut this out and this is what it's looking like. You can see that the side is shaped. Now we are left to working on our front. So for this now, you need to determine the neckline you want to work with for your front. Remember, I already went 1 inch for my back, so I'm going to omit that. Depending on how open you want it to be, 7 inches is fine for me. So I have 7 inches here. I'm just going to measure my 7 inches like that, which means that this is going to be my breaking point. So to connect this now, you fold your back a bit now, and then you connect from your back, from your center, from your neck point here for the front to the 7 inches in a diagonal form like this. Okay, so after connecting like this, you are connecting all the way to the hem. But because I'm going to be adding a rope to tie it, so for the rope I'm going 1 inch upwards like this. So I'm not going to be connecting directly to the hem here. I'm going to connect to the 1 inch that I have there. So I'm connecting from my neck point to that point, and then I'm going to cut this out. So you can see how simple it is to make this blouse. Okay, so this is cut now. I'm just going to open it up here, and I'm done with cutting this. So you may want to notch that point, that 9 inches point, because that is where your overlap is going to stop. So here now, I'm just going to place this on each other. Okay, so I'm just going to use my notch here to place my notch on each other. You can see how much this is wrapping around the body. That's because I use 1/4 of my waist. So if you don't want it to wrap this much, you can just measure 4 inches allowance before you cut it. And then this is what my neckline is looking like. It's just 7 inches deep. So if you want yours to be deeper, okay, maybe you want to wear a camisole under this, you may go lower than 7 inches, but you can see I just have 7 inches here, and then I'm fine. So now to sew this, I'm going to be placing my right side on each other, and then I'm going to join it on the shoulder, and then I'm going to sew it on the side, on both sides. Then after sewing it on the side, I'm going to hem it. So you can either fold it in a tiny bit and hem it round, or you just use your bias to turn it. Whichever one you choose to use is fine. So I'll do that now and then decide on the type of sleeve that I want to work with. So I've gone ahead to sew it on my shoulder and then on the sides, then, and I hemmed it. You can see how I hemmed it in. So you can use a bias, but I just want to quickly do this. That's why I just went ahead to hem it like that. So after that now, I cut a long rope. Okay, I cut a long strip of fabric, and then I sew it and turn it out like this. So this fabric now, I'm going to be adding it to each end. I cut 2 of this. I'm just going to be placing it against each other like this, and then I'm going to sew it. So the way I'm going to sew it, I'm going to sew it in form of an inseam finishing. I'll sew it here and then turn it over like this, and then sew it so that it's going to be really neat. So I'm going to do this to the 2 sides now, so that I can use it to neatly tie it, and then I'm going to hem it on the lower part also. Remember, I still have this selvage area, so I'm going to hem it. Then I'm going to add my sleeve to this. Okay, so I've gone ahead to fix my sleeve to this. You can use any sleeve of your choice, and then I went ahead to add my band, my rope to it, to tie it around the waistline, as you can see. And I paired it with this beautiful palazzo trouser, and the tutorial is already up on the channel also. If you don't know how to do this, you may want to check this out. So this is what I have. This is my actual neckline, but later I went ahead to broaden the neckline to make this blouse breastfeeding friendly. I hope you enjoyed making this tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.